Hi everybody, good morning, and welcome to my channel. I'm Kendra, and today I'm going to make my Christmas fudge. I think every family has their favorite recipe, what they use every year for fudge, and I'm going to show you mine today. So if you're brand new, welcome to my channel. You stopped on today, and it's like I said, a fudge recipe. And if you're not new, welcome back, friends. I love seeing you all every day. If you would like to make comments, anyone, ask questions. I'm talking about nice comments now. Ask questions. Just tell me about your fudge that you make if you do. And that kind of thing. I love to chat. So thumbs up are always appreciated. And of course, subscribe if you haven't. So let me get started. I make this, or I used to make this every single year. Sometimes I would do it twice. I would always do it in the month of December, probably like the first or second week of Christmas. And because I had so many children at the time, and part of this time I was doing licensed daycare in my home, like back in the 80s, I would, use it all up. Now, as years progress and the children, grow up and move along and eat less sugar because, that's not great, they would just have a little of the fudge. So this year, what I've decided to do, instead of just have it here for all of the adults in this house, I'm making it early. Today is the 14th, and I'm going to have it made and in the freezer, bagged. I'm going to take the air out. What's that called? Oh, there's a name for it. I'm going to suck the air out of these bags with this machine. Put it in the freezer, and I'm going to bring out half for Thanksgiving as part of a dessert, like with the pies that we make. And the little ones at the gathering and the adults can help themselves. And then I'm also going to take the other half out for Christmas, for the same thing, for Christmas Eve, actually. Okay, so that's my story on the fudge. Here is my recipe. Now I'm going to screenshot the actual recipe for you. Like I said, I've been using it since the 80s, and it came originally from a relative in Wisconsin. So there you have that. I'm going to use Jet Puff marshmallow sauce, or they call it marshmallow cream. I'm going to use evaporated milk, granulated sugar, can you even see that? Vanilla, pecans, third cup of butter, and I use real butter. Back in the 80s, I did not. I used Parquet until probably the mid-90s when I started being more conscious of what I like to have. That's all I need to say about that. Okay, this is the killer right here. You're going to need equal to 2 pounds of Hershey bars. I use Hershey bars. You don't have to. This same recipe, it's milk chocolate is what you need. 2 pounds of milk chocolate. You could use those chocolate Starburst candies. You could use chocolate, always make sure it's milk chocolate. You could use milk chocolate, chocolate chips. Any kind that you like, but make sure that it is milk chocolate and it's, 100% milk chocolate and not dark chocolate, because dark chocolate doesn't melt and act the same way that milk chocolate does in a lot of recipes, especially this one. So what I do is I open them up and I break them into individual pieces. What I used to get was bars that were equal to half a pound, and I'm not seeing them anymore. So I had to get equal to 4.4 pounds to equal 2 pounds. It was all of this. I'm so disappointed. About 3-4 weeks ago, one of my kids came home and said, "Oh gosh, you wouldn't believe that people in there swarming the s'mores section in the grocery store because they were all grabbing up the chocolate out of it, the Hershey bars, just like this. They were all marked 50% off." And I shrieked, "What?" And he goes, "Mom, there were hardly any left." So I would like to have had these for 50% off, but I didn't. And next year I'm going to try to make a mental note to be there when it happens. Who knows when it happens? You just have to be in the right place at the right time, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, that fills a whole bowl. Let me tell you what I'm going to do next. First thing you do is get a heavy bottomed pan. This is my heaviest bottom pan. They're hoping that you don't use a really light like aluminum pan because you want heat to evenly distribute and you want it to get good and hot, and just aluminum sometimes doesn't work as well. So just if you have anything heavy, use it. I've never tried glass. I know glass is heavy in pans, and I used to have some of those Vision where they were kind of a brownish orangish glass, but this is what I use now. I never did use the glass. I just mentioned it. I don't know why. So a whole can of evaporated milk. Don't use sweetened condensed milk, just the evaporated kind. So that's going to go in there. Now, this is my last of my pandemic stash. I was putting away food in case. And so it's marked 7/23, but it is fine. It's a Best By date. It's not expired. It's wonderful. So that's it. The next thing you want to add is sugar. 5 whole cups of granulated sugar, granulated white sugar. Don't use raw sugar. Don't use brown sugar. Don't use corn syrup, just granulated sugar. So, this sounds like, oh my gosh, but it makes 5 pounds. I always mix the ingredients before I take it over to the stove and get it cooking, because I don't want to have anything be not mixed in. Do you know what I mean? When I get started, I want it ready to go. 5 cups granulated sugar, 1 cup evaporated milk so far. Last is my real butter, and it goes. Boom. So of course, I'm not going to mix that in. It'll melt as it gets warm. Then I'm going to take it over to the stove, and I'm going to just stir it, and don't leave it. Don't leave it for a nanosecond. Stay with it until it comes to a low, slow boil, okay? And then you want to set a timer for 5.5 minutes exactly. Stir gently the whole time of that 5.5 minutes. So you're going to be here for a while at the stove. Well, here's the controversial part. Are you a nuts in your fudge fan or a no nuts in your fudge fan? In my recipe, I have used almonds, pecans, walnuts. I've never used cashews. Whatever I use, I want them to be unsalted. That's just me. You be you. So I've got about that much, a big handful, let's put it that way, of whole. And now I could leave them like this and just press them into the top of the fudge here and there whenever it's done. But when you do that, you run the risk when you slice it into squares of popping it off, and then it's just loose on the fudge and you can't really stick it back in. But it's pretty. So, you be you again. I am using pecans this time, unsalted, roasted pecans. They're the Kroger brand from my local Fred Meyer. And nuts are so expensive now, you don't have to use nuts at all if you don't want to. Or you can chop these really small and put them all inside, and you just get a nut if they get a nut. If you know everybody in your family is okay with tree nuts, remember there are people with allergies. Not in my family. Nobody in my family has a nut allergy, sensitivity, none of that. Now, what I'm going to do is chop it small and put it on the top. Again, some of them will knock off when I, put it in the freezer, and then I go to chop it up into slices or squares for serving. But that's okay. When I put it on the top, I'm going to press it down a little bit in hopes that a good bit of it will stay on top. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That way people can still not eat. They can knock it off their individual serving if they don't want nuts. I really don't think there's a soul in my family that's like that about nuts, though. So, again, that's however you want to do it. I'm going to chop them right now. I use a buttered 9x13 glass baking dish, like the kind you'd build a lasagna in. It holds the whole bit. It'll fill it, you know, up to the almost the rim, but you've got the one container there. Because when you make this, as soon as it's cool enough, you want to stick it in the fridge. As soon as it's cold, you can cut it and hide it in your freezer, or cut it and serve it, or cut it and keep it in your fridge in a bag. I'm going to vacuum seal it. That's the word I was looking for. I'm going to vacuum seal ours to keep it nice and fresh, and no freezer or fridge odors will get in it. Okay, so have everything ready. See, I've got lined up. Look here what I didn't do. How did I miss that? Okay, I've got my chocolate ready. I've got my marshmallow sauce and a thing, you know, to get it out, a spatula. I've got my teaspoon of vanilla and my chopped pecans, and now I'm going to butter my dish. I also want to tell you, do not use an aluminum foil pan. They aren't built the way they used to be, and it's not going to hold this much weight for you without accidentally dropping. It also is going to burn you bad because that heat will go right through aluminum. Okay, so that's my spiel on that. Okay. All right, I got my butter all spread out on my pan. Get the corners, get the edges, get all of it. Now, I used salted butter. Unsalted butter would be fine, whatever butter you have. And like I said, in the 80s, I used Parquet, so you be you. I have my fire on, and it's actually on low. Where is that? Low? Get comfortable. You're not going anywhere. Before you get your sugar mixture onto the fire, I would suggest, you know, finding an activity if you have little children. We used to unplug the phone. Harken way back. You know, whatever you need to do. Just try to make it so that you do it at a time where you can devote your full attention to this, because it's too much money to have go bad because it got scorched or whatever, and you need to babysit this. So this butter is just about melted, and it'll heat for a few more minutes before it even starts to think about doing its boil. Oh, don't use a metal spoon, not in any pan for this, because you're going to be in this for a long time, and I'm afraid it would heat up. But maybe you know your spoons don't. I like to use a big wooden spoon, even if I'm not using a cast iron like this coated, because it's non-reactive. It won't react to anything, and because it won't heat up. And it's big enough that it gets a large, you know, surface area when I give it a stir. So lots of reasons for a big, good wood spoon. So now that the butter is all melted, I can feel a difference as I go along the pan. I don't feel and hear sugar, so I know that it's really getting worked in there. Now there is up on the sides, because that's from, you know, just splashing, but you can feel it. It's becoming a thicker, smoother, yummier thing right now. Okay, everybody, I've got myself a boil here, and I've got my timer on to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I have never used this cast iron pan before. I'm hoping that I can do it okay. I'm going to put it back on this other burner because this one has a bigger flame. Whoa, okay, there we go. I want it to go slow, and I'm afraid that it'll cook too fast on this other one. These cast iron pans hold the heat really well, and I don't want to singe it. All right, so 5 minutes, 30 seconds. I'll bring you back after it's boiled. It's already satiny. Go. Okay, you want to work fast at this point? I'm going to take this drippy spoon, keep twirling it, and I'm going to grab, did you just get me? I'm not dressed for company today. Okay, I changed bowls from glass to this stainless steel bowl that has a rubber stopper on the bottom. I didn't think I was going to be able to do this with one hand, with him. Yeah, okay. So here we go. Get all of the goodness that you can get out. And we're good. I'm going to come toward you. Okay. Now, I'm going to grab my vanilla. This is 1 teaspoon. It's going to bubble. Yeah, because it's hot and the alcohol's burning off. If you use real vanilla, then the alcohol burns off when you put it in this. So don't put your face over it. I don't think you can see alcohol flames. I use vodka when I make my vanilla. Some people use bourbon, brown sugar bourbon, and I'm just dying to try that. I might do that this year. Ow, come on. If I had known you were going to be this tough to get out, I'd have gone after you earlier. Okay, now I'm going to stir all of this up. Melt it in together. Sorry, I had to cough. Okay, I'm going to stir this without film and not bore you, I think. Well, maybe I'll go ahead. It shouldn't take too long. If you wanted to, I suppose you could put a mixer in this. A hand mixer, I just never have. Okay, now I got it that much out. This is really heavy to work with, and I'm not as young as I used to be. And I don't have the same muscle mass for sure. So I actually did use my mixer, and it worked beautifully. Now you have some things for your little children's to lick. All right, so this quickly, we need to, if you're going to, go ahead and get those nuts on. I I for sure have cut too many. So I'll use the rest of them if I have any for another recipe. And I'm going to tamp them down. And hopefully as it cools, not a lot of them will drop off when I go to cut them. And that, my dears, is how I make my chocolate fudge, milk chocolate fudge. Cut it and show it to you when it's nice and done. Here it is. It has been in the refrigerator now for a few hours, and it cuts out really nice. I'll cut out a few more and put them here on this before I put them in a baggie. And so here it is. It was not as easy as I thought it was going to be, because typically in years past I just put it in a Ziploc baggie and I actually sucked the air out with a straw. But this year we decided we would try this. It's the, professional model. So the first one I did in little pieces. And the second one I just did a few little pieces. So by the time the third one rolled around, I said, let's just get the rest of it out. There's nuts on the other side of this, and it's in a piece. I'm glad to have it done. I got it done this year, and I didn't do as much the last few years, and it'll be safe out here because I won't be happening along several times a day. If you stayed this long, thank you so much for watching my whole video. I hate long videos myself. Take care, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.